Coming up today on shielding your retirement. If you're nearing retirement, you'll want to listen closely to today's show. We'll be going through what we call the Big Five. These are 5 key elements identified by financial professionals that you may want to consider when it comes to planning for your ideal retirement. As we go through the list today, ask yourself, how many do you feel solid on? Plus, we'll test your retirement IQ, and later you'll walk away from today's show with actionable steps you can take today to start making a difference for your financial future. That's next.
Retirement is more than a destination. It's a journey that starts with a dream, a vision for the way you want to live, recharge, and give back. To get there, you need a plan to reach your retirement goals. William Thatcher of Thatcher Wealth Management has the strategies you need to plan for income, taxes, healthcare, and more. For years, William Thatcher has been helping families plan for a successful retirement. Welcome to Shielding Your Retirement with William Thatcher.
Thank you for joining us today. I'm Kelly Dame here with William Thatcher, and we are talking all about the Big Five for today's show topic. When it comes to retirement, financial professionals say there are 5 things you should consider. It's not like we're on a safari looking for the big 5 animals. Sometimes retirement probably can feel like a safari. But let's get into it and talk about our first big one to know.
Yeah, absolutely. So the first task on the list is making sure you have a solid inventory on what you actually have. We speak to families who bring in shoeboxes, old file folders, and all of those papers from accounts that they might not even know almost exist, right? But they say, well, if it's in there, it probably does. This could be in 401ks that they haven't worked at that company for many years, or it might just be, one from last year, and they say, well, this is the only state that I know exists, right? So it's a good idea to work from really getting all that information together so you can really see how much you actually have saved. And just as importantly, where you have that money saved and then what it's doing for you right now. Now, how much is in that 401k? How much are in those Roth accounts, right? The tax nature of all those pieces matters a lot too. And when you know where that money is, you can begin to understand the overall tax implications of your overall retirement plan. And that's just a very important first step, because if you don't know where you're starting, it's very difficult to know where you try to get to.
I love that you bring this up, though, because I imagine a lot of people, it could be daunting or overwhelming to think about, okay, I need to go, I need to have a plan, but I don't even know what I have, right? So it's okay. You will do the sleuthing and the detective work for them, right, to put the pieces together.
Absolutely. And this is what, we help hundreds of families with every year, right, is this question of, really where do you start and making sure we're pulling those things together.
You are not alone. Okay, so if you're following along, we talked about the first one, really taking inventory. What's the second point people really need to be thinking about?
So the second of the Big Five for so many Americans is understanding what their Social Security needs to look like, right? Or really what it actually does look like in real life. You will likely have other sources of income in your retirement, but Social Security benefits are so important to the overall income strategy. And really where that money is coming from, how long is it going to last, right? And making sure that you're making that right decision. So one of the most important decisions in retirement income planning comes down when you start to take benefits. And if you're a husband and wife, it's really the combination of when one takes it and then the other. And you can apply for benefits as early as age 62 for most folks, but you stand to receive considerably more by waiting longer, right? At least until your full retirement age, which for most people listening to this is probably 67 years old. Now, this age will depend on when you're born. So maybe the older you are, the lower that retirement age is. And as they've, over time, tried to create Social Security to try to be a little bit more sustainable, they've continued to raise that full retirement age, and they likely will again in the future. So some things to think about when you're making that Social Security decision is whether your other sources of income will be adequate to support your retirement lifestyle that you envision for yourself. So if you are already essentially making ends meet and saying, well, we actually don't need the Social Security for now, we could wait a little bit longer to take it. Generally speaking, for most families, that's a good idea. Now, maybe one of the two has a lower or significantly lower Social Security income. Well, maybe you can trigger that one early because it's not going to make as big of a difference. But later on, you might wait for the one to maybe max it out even till age 70. Now, whether you can afford to retire early is another question, right? And so maybe you're like, well, there are not many other retirement income sources. In that case, you probably have to take Social Security right when you retire, because you certainly don't want to wait on Social Security and go into some type of debt or put yourself in a bad situation simply because waiting a little bit longer might make things a little bit easier. And the last point I'll say is, as folks live longer than they ever have before, it's generally a good idea to wait longer, because that's going to mean as you live that longer lifestyle, your Social Security being a higher amount is going to help take care of you for all of those years.
It is so complex. I mean, you just listed a few different examples so you can understand at home why these are really the important parts where you have to have a plan, and it's just a great idea to talk to somebody. Now, I want to talk about this third point, which is a little niche as well as we get to the big five.
Yeah, so, one of those pieces that is less common than it used to be is bringing in pensions. And it's very important for folks listening to this that if they are lucky enough to have a pension, making sure that you're familiar with those options. So oftentimes you can receive fixed monthly payments as long as you live, right? That's one of the kind of the main classic ideas. And pensions, they call them defined benefits. And so for years, employers would say, we're going to define this income for you for the rest of your life. And maybe if you want to take a little bit less, and then your spouse will get it for their life too, or maybe a part of it, that's another option. Now, you can opt also to reduce your monthly payments, of course, for your surviving spouse, as I just mentioned, but that might be 75% or 50% or 25% of what your pension is. And it's really a trade-off. In some cases, you may be able to receive a lump sum instead of those monthly payments. And so you might say, well, I could get $1,500 a month, or I could take $100,000 a year now. And everyone's in a different situation and what might be best for them. Now, in some cases, your choice will really depend on your overall financial situation. And of course, this is a major decision and really should be thought of and taken seriously for what it is, right? Because this will change the trajectory of your retirement situation month to month for the rest of your life. Now, if you have a 401k instead, so instead of a defined benefit, a lot of companies went to a defined contribution. And so that's when 401ks came about. And employers said, instead of saying, this is exactly what you're going to receive for the rest of your life, we're actually just going to contribute this amount toward your retirement in the form of a 401k. Now, most Americans have that. And for them, those decisions don't necessarily apply, right? They don't usually get to choose a monthly benefit versus a lump sum. They actually just have the lump sum. And if you're listening to this, and that's you, then really creating a plan for taxes and RMDs when those come due, as well as considering Roth strategies, that really could be other alternatives to make sure that that money lasts for you in the most tax-effective way possible.
Sure. You, of course, don't want to leave any of this to chance, as well as we've been talking about. Well, coming up next, we're going to reveal the final two key aspects of the Big Five. Be sure to stick around for that. And later, William is in the hot seat for Retirement IQ. Stay tuned. We'll be right back after this.
In life, it's good to know what you have to work with. Knowing how many nails you have before building that birdhouse. Knowing how much sugar you have before starting to bake the cake. But do you know how much income you'll be able to count on in retirement? Retirement savings are one thing, but knowing how those savings can turn into income is another. Are you confident you know what your retirement income will look like? Call our team and get a free income analysis today. We can show you what you might expect for income in retirement. Find out now so you won't have to wonder later. Call for your free analysis today.
They say knowledge is power. Whatever you're doing, whatever your goals are, you'll probably never say you know too much. The same is true with retirement. The more you know, the more prepared you'll be for everything in store. And we've made it easy to get started. This free offer is packed with knowledge to help answer some of retirement's biggest questions. It's our gift to you. Don't miss out on this opportunity. Act now and claim your free offer today.
Your dream car, the open road, And freedom. It's just one turn away. Or so you thought. Even when things look good, hidden problems can ruin your plans. Think of your retirement. At first glance, your investments might seem solid, but under the hood, what kind of risk are you exposed to? And what about taxes, income, healthcare costs? Don't let your retirement dreams stall out. Act now and get your free risk analysis to help keep you in the retirement fast lane.
Welcome back to the show. I'm here with William Thatcher of Thatcher Wealth Management, and we are talking all about the big five. And I know, William, before the break, we covered the top three, the first three, I should say. Those are financial inventory, Social Security, and then understanding pension choices if you're lucky enough to have one. So let's get into those final two aspects. What is number four?
Right. So number three, we talked about, that was really for a specific group, right? Those with pensions. Number four applies to everyone. And you really should expect this, for a healthy retirement. And it's good to have a plan for how things will go. And of course, with a good plan, you must have goals and milestones for those things. Now, however, you should be prepared for the fact that retirement will likely not go exactly how you plan. I say for a lot of families that life still happens even when you're retired, right? So this is a new chapter of your life. And if you've never been retired, it'll be it's unlikely it'll be like anything else that you've experienced before. It comes with new freedoms and, of course, new opportunities, but it also comes with unique challenges. For example, long-term care, now it's not something that most people want to consider, right? But roughly 70% of people over the age of 65 will need some type of long-term care at some point in their life. That might not be how you picture your retirement. But statistically, it probably is wise to consider the possibility of it in your plan.
And when you say 70%, I mean, that is most of the people who are watching at home, which is why you don't want to wait on putting a plan in place. This is something that you really need to prepare for. The other thing that you want to at least be aware of, even if you may not be able to do a whole lot, is market risk, right?
Absolutely. And it's certainly a consideration. Now, going through a bear market is something very different for a retiree than something is for when they're in their 20s and their 30s. This is something that you may want to consider when looking at your portfolio, right? What does a down market really look like and feel like? And by the way, the opposite might be true too. It might be even more, higher than you've even imagined, right? It might be wonderful as well, and I hope it will be. See, the bottom line is whatever picture you have of your life 20 years from now, it could look close to that, but it won't look exactly like that, and you really want to be ready for whatever life throws at you.
You're so right, though, when we're thinking about it's a mindset change, and we've never been in retirement before, right? So why would we know what we should be doing? Again, falling back to that plan. So as we talk about these five key things, we've covered the first four. Let's now run into the last one, the fifth.
Yeah. And when you put these things together, what you should have is a clear picture and have your decisions ready for Social Security and your pension or your 401k, and understand to be flexible in retirement, right, when you put all these things together. And in short, it's time to start shaping your retirement plan tailored to your goals. The first four steps are about gathering information and making those decisions. The final step is about action. This is where you start giving your money its job. Where is your income going to come from? How do these accounts interact with each other, and how will they be taxed? Of course, how your Social Security fit into your overall accounts. Now, should your money be moved between accounts, and what's the maximum way to do that? This is when you consider things like your legacy plan, your healthcare plan, etc. Now that you have, of course, all of these things, it's time to puzzle them together.
How fun is that for you when you get to get all, they come in with a shoebox and you're rifling through it, making sure all of the holes are filled. What is that like for you when you get to see it come together?
Yeah, for us and our team, it's such a blast, right? We kind of get our Sherlock Holmes hat on, and we start to help people piece together both, from their history, but also projecting into the future and starting to unveil that. And our first conversation or visit that we have in the office is what we call our evaluation. And this is really where we start to evaluate both, a picture of what they hope for the future, and then backtrack it from there. And then just start to investigate, like you said. I think that's such a good word, to see where are the gaps, what are the missing pieces. And the most beautiful thing is when they realize that there probably are issues, we get to start to unveil those to help them have really a retirement built to last. And that's the most joyous thing for us.
Well, and we'll talk about this as well in like this show and other shows as well, built to last. It's part of your process too, just to make sure it's a comprehensive look at retirement.
Absolutely. For us, the 5 key pillars, the BUILT, is exactly how we help families have confidence and empowered retirement.
All right, well, we've got a lot more to come straight ahead. William is in the hot seat for Retirement IQ. And later, what are some simple, actionable steps that you can take to improve your financial future today? William has your checklist challenge. Stay with us. We'll be right back after this.
More is usually better, but not when it comes to taxes in retirement. Tax rates might seem high right now, but these could be the lowest rates you ever see again. Think how that could impact your retirement. The good news is there are strategies you can take advantage of now to help lower your tax bill later and help get the most out of what you've saved for retirement. But don't delay. Time is limited and rates could rise soon. So act now to get your free tax analysis. Help uncover hidden savings and optimize your income in retirement. Take action and claim your free tax analysis now.
They say knowledge is power. Whatever you're doing, whatever your goals are, you'll probably never say you know too much. The same is true with retirement. The more you know, the more prepared you'll be for everything in store. And we've made it easy to get started. This free offer is packed with knowledge to help answer some of retirement's biggest questions. It's our gift to you. Don't miss out on this opportunity. Act now and claim your free offer today.
In life, it's good to know what you have to work with. Knowing how many nails you have before building that birdhouse. Knowing how much sugar you have before starting to bake the cake. But do you know how much income you'll be able to count on in retirement? Retirement savings are one thing, but knowing how those savings can turn into income is another. Are you confident you know what your retirement income will look like? Call our team and get a free income analysis today. We can show you what you might expect for income in retirement. Find out now so you won't have to wonder later. Call for your free analysis today.
Your dream car, the open road, and freedom. It's just one turn away. Or so you thought. Even when things look good, hidden problems can ruin your plans. Think of your retirement. At first glance, your investments might seem solid, but under the hood, what kind of risk are you exposed to? And what about taxes, income, healthcare costs? Don't let your retirement dreams stall out. Act now and get your free risk analysis to help keep you in the retirement fast lane.
It is now time to put our knowledge to the test with this week's Retirement IQ. You're so ready for this, aren't you?
I was born ready.
I thought so. I knew that. So, well, let's get into the first question then. No pressure. Question 1. According to the Employee Benefits Research Institute, less than 50% of retirees said they have 3 months of emergency savings.
Yeah, so thankfully, it's actually closer to 70% of retirees do actually have 3 months of savings for emergency. Now, and I think this is because retirees generally are a little more cautious, right? In a healthy way, right? Because when you're working, you have all of your paychecks coming in every other week, and when you're in retirement, there's just this vastness, right? You never want to go back to work, and so thankfully, about 3/4 of people do have at least 3 months saved in cash.
There's progress, right?
Progress,
you
right.
know,
It's not
and
just
every
half.
little bit. Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
A lot of times we share, some doom and gloom stats, but hopefully this again will
true.
inspire some people. Keep that money saving going. So, okay, question 2. By 2030, all baby boomers born 1946 to 1964 will be 65 or older. This will mean what percentage of Americans will be full retirement age?
Yeah, great question. So it'll be about 20% will have moved into that full retirement age. And therefore, if they've waited that long to receive Social Security, they'll get sort of that 100% line. Of course, you get more, little bonuses until you wait till 70, but 1 out of every 5 will hit that age.
I'm glad you're way better at math than I am. But when you think about that, that is 1 in 5 Americans. So there's a lot to be had here soon as those baby boomers enter into retirement.
Yeah, it's a big change for our population, and even as our more people in relation are going to be passing away than are actually being born, right? There's other things that are going to be shifting in a macro sense, even just putting money into Social Security versus how many pulling out of Social Security. And so these are things that we're really trying to stay ahead on and educate people as we're doing today so that people are prepared for as Social Security adjusts and so forth in the future.
And we know life changes and retirement plans change as well. So it'll be interesting to see kind of what this does to retirement overall. So question 3, what was the original due date for federal income taxes?
Yeah, so this is the throwback. There's a little bit of a history lesson. I'm a certified tax specialist, so this is one of the things
you know this
on the test. Yeah, so March 1st, actually, you had January and February to prepare, but by March 1st, you had to submit your taxes, and that actually changed to April 15th in 1955 when Congress acknowledged that taxes were getting harder to do, right? So early on, it was just a single page, right? A single form that you'd fill in, and that was it, right? It was very, very simple. Now the tax code is over 70,000 pages. And so Congress admitted that it was actually harder to do their taxes now, and so they changed it. They gave you 1 more month to prepare, a month and a half to April 15th.
If only things could still be so simple, and I also could have probably given you multiple choice on those. I just I trusted you, I guess. So
thankfully, I had those in the pocket. We'll see about this next one, though.
Okay, here we go. Financial literacy, or illiteracy, I should say, cost Americans $225 billion in 2020. Is that true or false?
Man, there's a lot of ways. I would say it's actually false. It's actually a little bit higher than that. There's a lot of ways that you can calculate this up, but most places that pull in these statistics say that it cost Americans about $415 billion. One of these ways is just that only about 20% of Americans saved or actually had an optimal financial strategy for Social Security. So anyway, $415 billion, it's a really big number. We think people should be prepared when they're making these decisions. Yeah,
and when you think about that, people not knowing enough about financing, costing billions and billions of dollars finance. So that's staggering. All right, you did it. We're done here. We've got a little bit more to come in the show. So still to come, you're going to learn some of the simple steps you can take today to help you improve your situation. Because how useful is knowledge without action? Stay tuned.
They say knowledge is power. Whatever you're doing, whatever your goals are, you'll probably never say you know too much. The same is true with retirement. The more you know, the more prepared you'll be for everything in store. And we've made it easy to get started. This free offer is packed with knowledge to help answer some of retirement's biggest questions. It's our gift to you. Don't miss out on this opportunity. Act now and claim your free offer today.
Your dream car, the open road, and freedom. It's just 1 turn away. Or so you thought. Even when things look good, hidden problems can ruin your plans. Think of your retirement. At first glance, your investments might seem solid, but under the hood, what kind of risk are you exposed to? And what about taxes, income, healthcare costs? Don't let your retirement dreams stall out. Act now and get your free risk analysis to help keep you in the retirement fast lane.
More is usually better, but not when it comes to taxes in retirement. Tax rates might seem high right now, but these could be the lowest rates you ever see again. Think how that could impact your retirement. The good news is there are strategies you can take advantage of now to help lower your tax bill later and help get the most out of what you've saved for retirement. But don't delay. Time is limited and rates could rise soon. So act now to get your free tax analysis. Help uncover hidden savings and optimize your income in retirement. Take action and claim your free tax analysis now.
In life, it's good to know what you have to work with. Knowing how many nails you have before building that birdhouse, knowing how much sugar you have before starting to bake the cake. But do you know how much income you'll be able to count on in retirement? Retirement savings are one thing, but knowing how those savings can turn into income is another. Are you confident you know what your retirement income will look like? Call our team and get a free income analysis today. We can show you what you might expect for income in retirement. Find out now so you won't have to wonder later. Call for your free analysis today.
Thank you so much for joining us today on Shielding Your Retirement with William Thatcher. I know we've had a lot of fun, and I would love to wrap it all up because, as we know, knowledge is power, right? So we want to impart people with some knowledge.
Yeah, and I love that quote, but there's another one I love even more. There was a quote by Dale Carnegie. It said, "Knowledge isn't power until it is applied."
Yeah,
and
you've got work to do.
Yeah, not to one-up you on that.
Please do.
But that's really how I'd like to end the show, with 3 simple, or really actually 5 simple steps to make sure that we're pulling all these things together. Obviously, when it comes to the big 5, you should look at that checklist, make sure you're going through each of those. So your reaction to today's show is that you should want to get right to it. That's really my hope. And then I encourage you to give it a shot, to go through all 5 of these pieces. And as you do, keep these 2 things in mind. The first one is that there's no reason to beat yourself up or anything about these things. It's very, very normal for people not to have these things together. Whether you feel embarrassed because you don't know a lot of these numbers, or you feel like you should have started a long time ago, just remember that the best thing you to do is to start today. And if you're starting today, you should be proud of yourself. Now, the second thing, and this is huge, is that you don't have to do this alone. Right? If all of this seems like too much, if you don't feel like you know where to start, when it's time to start speaking to someone about this, well, we really want to have the conversation today, right? The best time to start is now.
How often do you have people coming in saying, "Oh, I should have started years ago"?
It's so funny, right? Most people, they're very self-deprecating, right? They're very, they'll speak negatively of themselves, like, "Oh, I should be way more ahead," or "I know that I'm getting, I probably don't have enough for all this." But we say, hey, the best time to start, again, is now, right? And just to take that next step forward. Another one of my favorite quotes is, "The most important step a person can take is the next one." Right. And so really that next step for so many people is just to have a conversation or evaluation to see where you start. What do you have, right? When's the best time to take Social Security? How much do you actually need every month? The best way to distribute from your 401k or your pension, right? And also making sure that your plan is protected, right? Your plan is a confident one where you can say, whether the market's good or not, whether we have a long-term care need or not, all of these things really need to come together so that your family can have a retirement that's built to last.
I think people are so negative or worried at first because we put so much emphasis and importance on retirement, rightfully so. But just think about if you're coming in a little hesitant and then being able to possibly walk away a lot more enlightened and confident, that is magic. So don't hesitate to act on what you've learned from today's show. For William and the team at Thatcher Wealth Management, I'm Kelly Dame. Have a great week, and we'll see you back here next time.